Am I giving enough of myself to others, or am I too self-centered? In a world that often encourages self-promotion, personal success, and individual fulfillment, it is easy to become absorbed in our own needs and desires. But an important question lingers. Am I giving enough of myself to others, or am I too self-centered? This question is not just about acts of charity or occasional generosity. It is about the fundamental posture of our hearts. Scripture calls us to live in a way that prioritizes love and service to others. Philippians 2:3-4 reminds us, "Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of the others." True selflessness is not about neglecting oneself, but about living with an awareness that we are called to be vessels of God's love. Jesus exemplified this in his ministry, constantly serving, healing, and teaching without seeking personal gain. His ultimate act of love, the sacrifice on the cross, demonstrates the purest form of selflessness. In John 15:13, he declares, "Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends." While most of us are not called to physically lay down our lives, we are called to lay down our pride, our time, and our resources for the benefit of others. Psychologically, generosity has profound effects on the human brain. Studies in neuroscience reveal that acts of giving activate the brain's reward system, releasing dopamine and oxytocin, which enhance feelings of happiness and connection. This aligns with Proverbs 11:25. A generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed. Giving of ourselves, whether through time, encouragement, or material support, does not diminish us, but enriches us. When we are too self-focused, we miss out on the relational and spiritual nourishment that comes from serving others. However, self-centeredness can manifest in subtle ways. Sometimes it is not outright selfishness, but a preoccupation with personal struggles, achievements, or ambitions that blinds us to the needs of those around us. We may convince ourselves that we will serve when we have more time, money, or emotional energy. Yet the call to love is not contingent upon perfect circumstances. Galatians 6:9 encourages us, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." Selflessness is cultivated through daily intentional choices. It is important to assess our relationships and interactions honestly. Do we listen attentively when others share their burdens, or do we steer conversations back to ourselves? Do we extend grace and kindness even when it is inconvenient? Do we offer our resources to those in need, or do we cling tightly to what we have? These reflections reveal whether our hearts are oriented towards serving others or primarily serving ourselves. It is equally important to examine the posture of our hearts when no one is watching. Are our actions motivated by genuine compassion or by a desire for recognition? Do we serve only when it suits us, or are we willing to show up even when there's nothing to gain? Are we patient with others in their weakness, or quick to judge from a place of pride? These quiet, inward choices shape the integrity of our character and reveal the true depth of our commitment to love others well. Of course, self-care is necessary. Even Jesus withdrew to pray and rest. Mark 1:35, modeling that renewal is essential for effective service. The key is balance. We must care for ourselves so that we can better care for others. True selflessness does not mean martyrdom, but rather a willingness to give generously while maintaining healthy boundaries. One way to ensure we are giving enough of ourselves is to practice intentional generosity. This can take many forms. Volunteering, mentoring, being present for a friend in distress, or simply offering words of encouragement. Even small acts of kindness create ripples of love. Hebrews 13:16 reminds us, "And do not forget to do good and to share with others, for with such sacrifices God is pleased. Ultimately, selflessness is a reflection of our relationship with God. As we grow in faith, we naturally become more attuned to the needs of others. The more we align our hearts with Christ's example, the more we find joy in serving. When we give of ourselves, we do not lose. We gain deeper relationships, greater fulfillment, and the blessing of knowing that we are living according to God's purpose. But how do we measure whether we are giving enough? It is helpful to evaluate our daily interactions. Are we offering a helping hand where we can? Are we willing to step outside our comfort zones to assist others? Sometimes true selflessness is not about grand gestures, but about being available and responsive to the needs of those around us. It could be as simple as a listening ear, a kind word, or a thoughtful act that shows someone they are valued. In addition, we must examine our motives. Are we giving because we want recognition, or are we giving because it is the right thing to do? The purest form of generosity expects nothing in return. Matthew 6:3-4 states, "But when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving may be in secret. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you." Giving should not be a tool for personal validation, but an expression of love and obedience to God. Another crucial aspect of selflessness is humility. Often, pride can prevent us from truly serving others. We may feel that certain tasks are beneath us, or that we should only help when it is convenient. However, Jesus, the King of Kings, washed his disciples' feet, setting an example of humility and service. John 13:14-15. If he, in all his majesty, could perform such an act of love, how much more should we be willing to serve others? Moreover, we must consider whether we are willing to sacrifice for the good of others. Love is not always easy, and true selflessness often requires giving even when it costs us something, our time, comfort, or resources. Romans 12:10 challenges us, "Be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves." This kind of love goes beyond surface-level kindness. It is a deep, intentional commitment to valuing others. Finally, selflessness is a journey, not a destination. We will all have moments of selfishness, but the goal is to continually grow in our capacity to love and give. As we strive to be more like Christ, we will find that the more we give, the richer our lives become. The paradox of generosity is that in giving, we receive. In serving, we are fulfilled. In loving, we are loved. So, are we giving enough of ourselves? Or are we too focused on our own concerns? May we continually seek to embody Christ's love, not just in words, but in actions, knowing that a life poured out for others is a life truly well lived.